we were discussing about the different orders that is possible as far as three machine problems were concerned. I think the most common types are ABC, which is a regular order. Okay. I think it's not focusing. Please. 1 minute. So ABC is the first order where A is the first machine, B is the second machine, and C is the third machine. And the regular formulas we are going to use here. So what's the regular formula we use here? Idle time for machine A is equals to C minus A. That is the last job on the machine C completed minus the last job on machine A completed will get the value for machine A. Okay. Similarly, when you calculate the idle time for machine B, it is C minus B. That is the time at which the last job on the machine C completed minus B completed plus the idle time of B. What do you mean by idle time B here? Whatever value we get in the table, that should be added. That is second part. So when you are calculating the idle time for machine C, it is directly the idle time of C, which is the total of the last column that we have got in the idle time. So this is a regular formula that we have used so far whenever the order is given as ABC. And please understand, irrespective of whichever order it is, whether it is ABC, BAC, CAB, CBA, whatever order is given to you, there will be absolutely no change as far as Johnson's rule is concerned. Johnson's rule will no change. It is always G is equals to A plus B and H is equals to B plus. That's all. There is absolutely no change in that. Only when you are writing these values in the table form, when you are finding the values in the table form, then this formulas will change. Okay. Till then, irrespective of the order, the formula, I mean the Johnson rule, will remain same. Okay. Now, let us see what are the other possibilities as far as the three machine problems are concerned. Now, this is the first possibility. Let us take the second possibility, BAC. Okay. Now, can you please tell me if the order to be solved is BAC, what will be the formula for A, B, and C now? Can anybody please tell me now? Here B will become the first machine, A will become the second machine, and C will become the third machine. So, how do you write the formula now? Yeah?
A is equal to C minus B.
Okay, first, okay, we'll write A, B, C in the same order and then we'll change the formula. Okay, A, if I'm calculating A, you can see A is the second machine. If it is second machine, how do you write the value now? C minus A, okay, plus the idle time of A. Correct? You all agree? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
what is the formula for B now? Just look at the combination clearly. In this particular problem, B happens to be in first machine. First machine is that, what will be the formula for calculating the idle time? Just refer the first set of
C
formula.
minus B.
Okay, the formula will be very simple, C minus B. The formula will be C minus B. Okay, so what is the formula for machine C now?
Idle C, sir.
So the machine C is last machine, therefore directly we can take the idle time of C. Okay, the whole problem crux depends on the position of these values. Please don't have any confusion here. Whichever is the first machine, it is always the last machine minus first. Whichever is the second machine, last minus second plus the idle time of that machine. And whichever is the last machine, directly the idle time of that particular machine has to be taken. This is the only three things you have to remember. Are you getting the point clearly? Otherwise, there is absolutely no other rocket science. Okay, let me write the next combination. Okay, if the combination is ACB, Okay. Now can you tell me what is the formula for this?
B minus A.
Okay. First for A, it is nothing but B minus A. Very good. Okay. For B, what will be the formula?
Ideal B, sir.
Since it is the last machine, we can directly write the ideal time of machine B. Good. Okay. What will be the formula for C?
B minus C plus ideal C.
Yeah, B minus C plus the ideal time of machine C. Since it happens to be in the second position, then the formula becomes B minus C plus ideal time of C. So this is the third combination. Okay, let me take the next combination. Okay, the next combination, let's say it is CBA. Okay, if this is CBA, can you please tell me what would be the formula now?
A is equal to ideal A.
Okay, A is equals to ideal A because it's the last machine. Very good. Okay, so what will be the ideal time for B now?
A minus B plus ideal B.
A minus B minus plus ideal time of B. Very good. Okay. And what will be the formula for the ideal time of C? C
A
how much?
minus C.
Yeah. C what will get? A minus C. Okay. Yeah. So likewise, you may have different combinations in the question paper. Now, what you are supposed to understand is the entire problem in three machine is irrespective of order, whether it is ABC, BAC, ACB, CB, whichever order is given to you, the basic conditions and up to Johnson rule, there is absolutely no changes. Are you all understanding my point? Johnson rule, everything absolutely remains same. Only when you are calculating the total elapsed time, that means the second step, when you're putting the values in the table form, then you should be particular about these formulas. So depending upon which order the problem is solved, accordingly, the formula will change. Okay. Now, one more important point I want to tell you. Let us say the problem is supposed to be solved in BAC. How do you write the table now? As usual, the first column will be job, then it is machine B, then it is machine A, and then it is machine C. It should be written in the same order. Whichever order is given in the question paper, in the same order, B, A, C. That is in out, in out, in out. And again, in the last three columns will be idle time of B, idle time of A, and idle time of C should come. That is the only change that happens as far as three machine problems are concerned if the question is asked in different orders. Okay, is that clear to everyone? Yes or no? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Everyone clear? Or you want me to solve some questions on this? I want you to please reply, right? You want me to solve some questions on different orders because there is absolutely no difference in the steps. Everything is exactly same. Only the changes happens in the formula. And that's the reason why I thought, I know there is no point in unnecessarily doing the same thing again and again. And that's why I'm just telling you where are the changes supposed to come. But if you still want me to solve some problems, I don't mind doing it. Yeah, you can please let me know. I want people to reply. Okay, please. Please speak out.
Sir, we are clear, sir.
Okay.
No,
So,
sir, it's fine, sir.
okay, okay. So if it's fine, then absolutely no problem. So what I will do is maybe today evening or by tomorrow morning, I'll be posting some questions on both two machine problems and three machine problem with different orders, regular methods, with you know unique value. I think all possible type of questions I'll combine and give it to you. I think once you start solving those problems, I think then you'll get a fair idea, and also it will give you a lot of confidence as well. Okay, so I think that should be better. So we will do that. I will be posting some questions in WhatsApp by today or tomorrow. Please solve them. With that, I think the second method is completed, which is processing n jobs through 3 machines. Now we'll come back to the last method. Actually, there is one more method before this, that is called as processing 2 jobs through n machines. But as far as your syllabus is concerned, that method is not included. They have removed in the new syllabus. So I'm not going to touch on that. Unnecessarily, there is no point in wasting time on that. So we'll directly go to the last method, which is called as processing n jobs through k machines. This is the last variety of method, or the last method in sequencing problem. So before we start this particular method, I want everyone to understand this concept clearly and understand what exactly this method is all about, and then we can start solving the problems. Okay. So this method is called as processing n jobs through k machines. N jobs through k machines. So this is the last method that we have in sequencing problem. Okay. My first question to the class. If you look at this heading, what is your first take on this? What do you understand from this heading? Can anybody please comment on this? Yeah? I want people to please speak out. I don't see anybody participating in the class. Is it because there is a lag in video, or what it is? What is the problem? Hello?
More
Hello,
jobs and more machines, sir.
No. Why people are taking so much time to reply? Is there any technical problem there?
No, sir. No, sir.
Sorry?
No, sir, there is no technical problem, sir.
Okay, yeah. Okay then. So please tell me what exactly you understand from this particular method.
More number of jobs, sir.
And
More number of machines, sir.
very good. Yeah. Now, if you just compare the previous two methods, what we saw, the first method is processing n jobs through 2 machines. That was the first method. The second method was processing n jobs through 3 machines. That was the second method. Now we are talking about the third method, processing n jobs through k machines. That means in the previous first and second method, the number of machines were fixed. You all agree? In the first method, the number of machines were fixed exactly 2. Only machine A and B were allowed. Only 2 machines were there. That was case 1. In case 2, the number of machines were again fixed. It was 3 machines. We cannot have more than 3 machines there. Okay? So in the first and second method, the number of machines were fixed. It was decided clearly. It was only 2 machines in case 1 and 3 machines in case 2. But in both the cases, there was no restrictions on number of jobs. You all agree? The number of jobs can be any number. There was absolutely no restrictions as far as number of jobs was concerned, but there was definitely a restriction on number of machines. The first case it was 2 machines, and second case it was 3 machines. Now we are coming to a very important case of sequencing problem where there is absolutely no restriction on both number of machines as well as number of jobs. And that's the reason why we call this particular method as processing n jobs through k machines. Here the number of jobs also can be any number, and number of machines also can be any number. So there is no restriction as far as number of jobs as well as number of machines are concerned. Okay, is that clear to all of you? Yeah. Now, as usual, we all know that any problem in sequencing has to be solved at two levels. The first level is by applying Johnson's rule. Okay, what is the purpose of applying Johnson's rule? I think you all know by now. The Johnson's rule is applied to decide the ideal sequence or ideal order or process in which the jobs have to be processed. You all agree? In which particular order the jobs have to be processed will be decided by sequencing rule, which is called as Johnson's rule. Now, Johnson's rule has got a very important limitation. Now, what is the important limitation of Johnson's rule?
Sir, it is apply only two machines.
Guys, is the video stuck for everyone?
Yeah.
Yes.
What exactly this particular problem is all about? I was taking the example of the first and second method. In the first and second method, the number of machines were completely confined or restricted. In the case one, it was exactly 2 machines, and in the case two, it was exactly 3 machines. Now, in the last method, both number of jobs as well as number of machines are unlimited. You can have any number of machines and any number of jobs. Okay. We all know that all sequencing problems are solved at two levels. The first level is we will apply Johnson's rule and decide the order in which the jobs have to be processed. This is case one or the first step. In the second step, we apply the table and calculate the idle time of machines, whichever machines are given. Okay. Now, we all know that there is a serious limitation as far as Johnson's rule is concerned. Can anybody please tell me what is the important limitation of Johnson's rule? Yeah? Can I get the answer from the class? Can anybody please tell me what is the limitation of Johnson's rule? Yeah?
Sir, it is applied only machines are two.
Very good. The Johnson's rule can be applied if the number of machines are exactly 2. If the number of machines become more than 2, then the Johnson's rule cannot be applied. So, if you want to apply Johnson's rule, the only possibility before you is you have to convert the number of machines, it can be any number of machines, into only 2 machines. Only by converting into 2 machines, we'll be able to apply rule and your first step can be solved. I think we have already done that. When it comes to the second method, that is 3 machine problem, I think we had a very important condition. Do you all remember the condition? Minimum of A should be greater than or equal to maximum of B, or minimum of C should be greater than or equal to the maximum of B. If any of these conditions are satisfied, then the problem is good to go for conversion. Then what did we do? We introduced two fictitious machines called machine G and machine H. Machine G is nothing but A plus B and machine H is nothing but B plus C. So this was the mechanism that we applied as far as 3 machine problem was concerned. But when the number of machines are more than 3, if it is 4, 5, 6 and 7, we may not be able to use the same method what we did for 3 machines because the number of machines are more. So, whenever the number of machines are more than 3, please remember this very carefully, this particular rule is applicable only when if the number of machines happens to be more than 3. Murukinda jasti machines is there, then we are supposed to apply this particular concept. Okay. Now, what exactly that concept is all about? That is what I am supposed to explain. So, let me explain this concept with a question. I think that will be better so that you can also understand the concept clearly. Okay, I'll just write the question. I want everyone to please understand the concept clearly. They're given machines A, C, D, and E. There are totally 5 machines given to you. And The jobs are given as 4 jobs, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, 5 machines and 4 jobs. This is what the question is all about. Okay, let me write down the data. So 7, 5, 2, 3, and 9. 6, 6, 4, 5, and 10 is the second value. 5, 4, 5, 6, 8 is the next value. 8, 3, 3, 2, and 6 is the next one. Now this is the data given to us. Now using this data, we are supposed to solve this problem, which is n jobs through k machines. The first thing that you are supposed to decide when a question of this kind is given to you is, does this question qualifies to this method or not? This is the first important thing to be verified. Okay. How do you decide whether this problem qualifies to case 3 or not? Can anybody please tell me? How do you mention that this particular method will qualify or is qualifying to this particular method? Take decide ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ? Yes? I want people to please answer. Is there any difficulty in listening to my voice? Because I'm not able to see people not participating at all. Hello? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Taking so much time, people are not responding at all.
Sir, when the number of machines are more than 3, sir.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, if the number of machines given in the problem happens to be more than 3, then automatically the question comes to category number 3. So this is the point you have to remember clearly. So we are able to solve this problem by the method 3 by going by this particular concept. Okay. Okay. So here you can see that totally the number of machines are 5, and since the number of machines are 5, which is obviously more than 3, we can solve this problem by this particular method, which is processing n jobs through k machines. Okay. This is one important thing to be remembered here. Okay. Now, as I already told you, you cannot apply Johnson's rule if the number of machines are more than 2. So obviously, what is your objective now? Our objective is to convert this problem into 2-machine problem. But before we convert this problem to 2-machine problem, there are certain prerequisites. There are certain conditions to be verified. Only if these conditions are verified, then we are able to convert the problem into 2 machines. Now, what are the conditions to be verified? Okay, please look at the board clearly. Out of these 5 machines, it can be any machine more than 3. Please understand, this concept is holding good when the number of machines are more than 3. It can be 4 machine, 5 machine, 6 machine, 9 machines. It can be any number. Consider your first machine and the last machine. Very important step. Consider the first machine and the last machine. Here the first machine is A and the last machine is E. So these are the 2 machines we have. A and E are the 2 machines. Okay. Now, what are we supposed to do? The rule says minimum of first machine, okay, should be greater than or equal to, okay, greater than or equal to maximum of remaining machines. Maximum of remaining machines. Okay, this is rule number 1. Similarly, I think you are not able to see, I guess. I think now you are able to see a yes. Minimum of the first should be greater than or equal to maximum of remaining machine. Rule number 1. Rule number 2, minimum of last machine should be again greater than or equal to maximum of remaining machines. Maximum of remaining machines. Now this is a general rule. Now how do we substitute or try to understand this rule? Okay, please understand it very clearly. As far as this question is concerned, the first machine is your machine A, correct? And what is your last machine? The last machine is machine E. So here the first machine is A and the last machine is E. Now what do you mean by remaining machines? Leaving the first and last machine, whatever machines are left in between, they all come under remaining machines. That means in this particular problem, machine A is first, machine E is last, B, C and D, these 3 machines are called as remaining machines. This is what you are supposed to understand. Is that clear, everyone? This is your first machine and this is your last machine, and in between there are 3 machines, right? They are called as remaining machines. So now I'm supposed to verify whether this condition is satisfied or not. Okay, let me just look at this. First, let us find out what is the minimum of first machine. Can anybody please tell me what is the minimum of first machine?
5, sir.
5. So 5 is your minimum value. Good. Similarly, minimum of last machine. What is the minimum of last machine?
6.
6 is the minimum value. Very good. Now I have to see whether it is equal to this particular condition. So first let me take the first condition. So first condition is what? 5. 5 should be greater than or equal to maximum of remaining machines. And I should take all the 3 values individually. If I go to machine B, which is the highest value here, the highest value is 6. So I say 6, comma. If I go to machine C, the highest value in the machine C is 5, comma. If you go to machine D, the highest value is again 6. Now you can see here. Now you can see that I am supposed to verify whether minimum of A should be greater than or equal to the maximum of remaining machine. 5 should be greater than or equal to maximum of these values. Idರಲ್ಲಿ ಎಲ್ಲಾ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಿಲ್ಲ. Even if one value is satisfied, I think it's good enough. Okay, ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ನೋಡಬಹುದು 5 is equal to 5. Only one particular condition satisfied ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ. In the remaining 2 condition, it is not satisfied. Are you able to understand here? You should see whether the minimum of A is satisfied with all the 3 conditions. And then mika 3 machines jothe compare ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ. The 3 machines have the values 6, 5 and 6. Only in the second machine, the condition is satisfied. 5 is equals to 5, but the remaining 2 value, it is not satisfied. Let's keep it. Okay, I'll tell you what to be done later. This is as far as the first condition is concerned. Now we'll come back to the second. In second, it says the minimum of last machine should be greater. Same thing. What is the minimum of last machine? 6. Okay, so 6 should be greater than or equal to. Okay, 6 says greater than or equal to 6, 5, 6. Now you can see that in the second condition or in the second equation, this particular value is satisfying all the 3 conditions. 6 is equal to 6, satisfied. 6 is greater than 5, satisfied. 6 is greater than 6, satisfied. That means all the 3 values are satisfied. Are you understanding? So the rule says if either of these 2 conditions are satisfied, then you are good to go for conversion. ಒಂದು ವೇಳೆ ಎರಡೂ ಕಂಡೀಷನ್ satisfy ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ when I say condition should be satisfied ಅಂದ್ರೆ all the 3 to be satisfied, what I mean to say. Okay, not only one value like this. The entire 3 values should be satisfied in either of the condition. Either this or this, or either rule number 1 or rule number 2 should be fully satisfied. If either of it is fully satisfied, then I can convert this problem into two machine problem. So this is the prerequisite or precondition to be verified before we start solving the problem. Has everybody understood this step or any doubts here? Any doubts?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Is that clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Now, I think from this particular formula, I think it's very clear that the basic conditions are satisfied. Now, I am supposed to convert this particular problem into two machine problem. Okay? Even in K machines, we are supposed to introduce two fictitious machines called G and H. Even now, I am introducing two fictitious machines. One is called as machine G and other is called as machine H. So two fictitious machines I am going to introduce. Okay. Now what is the meaning of G and H here? Very simple. G refers to A plus B plus C plus D. Okay. And H refers to B plus C plus D plus E. Okay. Can anybody please tell me what is the logic behind writing this equation? Can you please tell me what exactly I'm the equation? Yeah. Please give me this. I've written G is equal to A plus B plus C plus D and H is B plus C plus D plus E. How did I write this? Is there any logic or any rationale behind this? I want please people to speak out. I'm not able to have any conversation from your end. It becomes very difficult for me to continue class if people are completely dumb like this.
Actually, when we were doing the three machine problems, so as for from the rule we go as G is equal to A plus B and then H B plus C. So sir, here the number of machines are more, so that would be the reason for doing G A plus B plus C plus D, sir, and H B plus C plus D plus E.
Okay. So this is a general way of understanding it. Typically from mathematical point of view, how exactly these equations are written? If you look at the entire question paper here, there are totally 5 machines are there. Okay, totally 5 machines are there. So
Yes,
whenever you are writing an equation for G and H, G is equals to, always please remember, K minus 1. Andre, how many machines you have in the total number of machines, you should subtract 1 from that. That means if there are totally 5 machines, I should take n minus 1. Andre, 5 minus 1, which is nothing but 4. The first 4 machines should be taken. Okay. Suppose if there are totally 6 machines, then what will happen? 6 minus 1, 5. The first 5 machines will come to G and the next 5 machines will go to H. Are you understanding the point here clearly, everyone? Yes,
Yes,
or
sir.
no? Okay. So the first set is decided by n minus 1. That means if the machines are 5 minus 1, 4. The first 4 machines will come to G. And H will be the next 4 machines. Next 4 machines, and you always start from the second machine. And it starts from B. So B plus C plus D plus E. Okay. Now I will ask you one question now in the continuation of it, just to understand how much you have understood correctly. Okay. Let us say there are totally, let's say 8 machines. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, 3, 6, 8. Okay. Now can you please tell me what is the equation for G and H?
Sir, G, A, B, C,
H
D,
plus-
E, F, G.
First you see totally how many machines are there. How many machines are there? 8 machines are there. Alright. So what does the rule say? N minus 1. Number of machines in the 1 kadme madi. So out of 8 machines, if you reduce 1, it becomes 7. That means the first 7 machines will come to G. And the first 7 are A plus B plus C plus D plus E plus F plus G. The first 7 machines will be G. And similarly, what will be the head? The next 7 machines. Next 7 machines, it starts from B and goes till H. This is what you need to understand clearly when you are converting the problem into 2 fictitious machines. Have you all understood now clearly, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah. Now, let me continue the talk. Okay. I think I have lot of constraints with this page. Just 1 minute, I'll just try to fix the laptop position a bit so that I can just have more space. Just 1 minute, huh? Is my voice clearly audible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
And can you see the board clearly?
Yes, sir.
Great. Okay, let me just start solving the problem now. I'm just wiping the other part because I don't have much space here. Okay. Now, as I said, I'm supposed to introduce two fictitious machines called G and H. Okay. First, let me write the machine G and then machine H. Okay. So, machine G is nothing but A plus B plus C plus D is your machine G, and H is equals to B plus C plus D plus E. So, this is the two machines. Now, let me write down the two machines now. So G and H, the jobs are 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so these are the four values we have. Okay, yeah. Now I am supposed to come out with a new set of values using this formula. So G is equal to A plus B plus C plus D. Now, this is your machine A, this is your machine B, this is your machine C, and this is your machine D. Now, when I want to calculate G and H, G is equal to the first four machines. How do I add here now? 7 plus 5 plus 2 plus 3. This 4 value if I add, that will give you the first value of job number 1. Okay, can you please add in, tell me how much we get?
17.
17, sir.
17. Very good. We'll get 17. Now, can you please tell me for the second value now?
21.
21. Okay. Third value? 5 plus 4 plus 10. It comes
Sir, that
20.
is not 21, 31, sir.
How much?
31.
No. 6 plus 4, 10. 10 plus 6, 16. 16 plus 5, 21. Correct, Vijaya?
So it's
Okay.
21 only.
Yeah. Okay, now can you please tell me for the fourth value how much we get? 8 plus 3, 11. 11 plus 3, 14. 14 plus 2 is 16.
16.
So what is the second value? Okay. Now in a similar way, can you please tell me the values for the H machines now? What is H machine now? B plus C plus D plus E. The next
19.
19.
we added.
19.
Okay. So 5 plus 2, 7. 7 plus 3, 10. 10 plus 5, 19. Okay. Second value?
25.
25.
25.
25.
25.
Okay, good. Third value?
23.
23. Okay. And the last value?
14, sir.
14.
14. Now we have successfully completed converting a 5 machine problem to 2 machine problem. And please remember, again I'm telling you very clearly, the whole activity of converting number of machines into exactly 2 machines is only to facilitate Johnson's rule. Once Johnson's rule apply madidmele, this value has absolutely no significance. The same thing I've told you in 3 machine problem also. Please remember, all this activity are done only for applying Johnson's rule. Once the Johnson's rule is done, once the order of the job is decided, then these values will have absolutely no significance or no application in any part of sequencing problem. Am I clear? Have you all understood this step very clearly? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Now let's start with the Johnson's rule. So by Johnson's rule, okay. So let us do the sequencing. Totally 4 jobs are there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same procedure. Always will start with the lowest processing time happens to be on
Machine H.
what do you say, machine B. We will take it from right side. All right, and in case remember that step. Okay. Now, can you please tell me the sequencing now? Can you please tell me the sequencing?
First is J4, sir.
Yeah, because you can see that the lowest processing time is 14, and 14 happens to be on machine H. Therefore, we come from the right side, and again this will become J4. Very good. So this is cost. Okay. Next, which is the next job?
J1.
J1.
Because 17 is the lowest value, it happens to be on machine 1. Therefore, I can take J1 from the left side. Very good. Okay. Then, which is the next value?
J3.
J3.
Because you can see 20 is the next value, 20 again is on machine 1. Therefore, we can take the J3. Okay. And obviously, the remaining value can directly write as it is. So it becomes J2. So now, with Johnson's rule, we have decided the order in which the jobs have to be processed. So what is the order to be processed here? J1, J3, J2 and J4. So this is the order in which the jobs have to be processed. Now, using this particular order, we have to write down the table exactly like what we did in 2 machines and 3 machines and do the calculations. Okay? Yeah. There is one more very important thing or important change as far as the last method of problems is concerned. What is that important change? Unlike 3 machine problem, we don't have multiple formulas to calculate the idle time. That is one biggest benefit here. In K machine problems, the idle time is directly calculated by counting the totals of individual columns. Nimgeli B minus C, D minus C, those fundas are not here. Directly we can take the total of the individual column and write the answer. So that is one benefit we have as far as K machine problems are concerned. Anyway, I'll explain you when I take up the second method, the second step. Okay. So have you all understood till here? Is everybody clear till Johnson's rule or till kind of finding the sequence? Any doubts? Any questions up to this point?
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. Can you quickly recap what we did so far? Anyone? Can anyone please summarize the whole thing from starting? Yeah.
First, we need to consider first and last machine.
Okay.
Then we have to verify minimum of first machine should be greater than or equal to maximum of remaining machines, or minimum of last machine should be greater than or equal to maximum
Hello?
of remaining machine. Hello?
Yeah, please go ahead.
A minimum of last machine should be greater than or equal to maximum of remaining machines.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
We are able to hear you, sir. Hello.
Yeah, please speak. I think the girl was speaking and all of a sudden she stopped talking. She was answering the question. Is anybody else would like to add to it? Can anybody others can continue with that? Answer whatever she was trying to say. Please reply. If you are quiet like this, then I know I'll be completely lost here. Chirag, are you there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Chirag, you are able to hear me?
Yes, sir. Hello.
ಸರ್ಗ್ ನಾವ್ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿರೋದ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಿಲ್ಲ, ನಮಗ್ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ.
Hello?
Hello. Yes, sir. I am able to hear you, sir.
ಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಹಾಕ್ರಿ ಯಾರನ.
I want people to please speak out. Can anybody please speak something? Because at least I get a reassurance that, you know, you are able to hear me.
Sir,
please
we are
speak
able
out,
to
somebody.
hear you, sir.
One minute, I'll just call sir and I'll inform him.
Yeah, better.
Why is that, you know, I'm not able to hear what you're speaking? Hello? No, I'm not able to hear anybody's voice actually, that's why. Okay, let me check. Okay.
He'll recheck and he'll be back again.
Okay, can you hear me now, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಸರ್ಜನ್ ಇದಾಗಿಲ್ಲ.
ಕಾಲೇಜಲ್ಲಿ ಪವರ್ ಇಲ್ಲ
ಸರ್ಗೆ
ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನೆಟ್ವರ್ಕ್ ಇಶ್ಯೂ.
ನಾನ್ ರೆಕಾರ್ಡ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ನಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ವಿಂಡೋ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಆಗ್ಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತ ನಾನ್ ಮಾತಾಡಕ್ ಹೋಗಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದು
ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಹೇಳ್ರು ಸರ್ವಿಸ್ ಪ್ರೊವೈಡರ್ ಚೇಂಜ್ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳಕ್ಕೆ. ಮತ್ತೆ
ಡೈರೆಕ್ಟರ್ಗೆ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ ಮಗ, ಪಿಕ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ.